Here's Amazon.co.uk, and here's a video game retailer called The Games Collection. As we watch these websites load side by side, which would you expect to have a faster overall load time? If you said Amazon, you'd be wrong. In total, Amazon actually takes nearly 8 seconds longer to finish loading than the Games Collection. When it comes to web performance, the user's perception of how fast a website loads can be more important than how fast it actually loads. Performance isn't about mathematics, performance is about perception. Like we've seen firsthand with Amazon, if a website takes 30 seconds to load, but the user gets the impression that it loads in 5 seconds, then the latter psychological metric overrides the former objective one. And, as the old saying goes, the customer is always right. This was no accident. Optimizations were put into place by the folks over at Amazon HQ to create the impression of a fast website, even if the objective metrics don't necessarily support this claim. This is called optimizing the perceived performance. So, what's the theory behind all of this? Let's find out. The human brain perceives time in a different way from, say, a clock, which tracks what we'd call objective time. It can fluctuate depending on metrics such as age, anxiety levels, time of day, all sorts of environmental factors. This is called psychological time. Within this context, there's two separate phases of a typical wait, the active phase and the passive phase. The active phase is the period of a wait where the user's mind is engaged. This could be whilst riding a bike, solving a puzzle, watching TV, or simply thinking in depth about something. The passive phase is characterized by the opposite. Periods of inactivity where the user isn't engaged and has no choice or control over waiting times. Examples could be waiting for a train to arrive, waiting for your baggage at the airport, or waiting for your bill at a restaurant. Naturally, users don't like to wait, and when they complain that it's taking too long, this generally refers to the length of the passive wait. Research has shown that on average, because users' minds are much less engaged in this phase, waiting times are overestimated by around 36%. With all this in mind, even if the objective wait time remains the same, we are able to influence the psychological wait time by shifting the balance between the active and passive phases of a wait, so it favours the former in some way. How do we do this? There's two main techniques. One is called preemptive start, which involves beginning the wait in the active phase and maintaining it for as long as possible before switching to the passive phase. This way, even though the total wait times remain the same, the user's perception of the wait time is reduced, because for the first phase of the wait they were occupied. The other technique is called early completion. This is about turning a passive wait into an active one as soon as possible by giving the user something to engage with. A good example of this is the Amazon demo from earlier. Even though it takes 30 seconds for the website to fully load, because it renders quickly, the user is transitioned from the passive phase of the load time to the active phase much sooner. This massively reduces the psychological load time of the website, even when compared to objectively faster websites. Later, in the practical segment of the course, we'll explore how to make a website feel like it's loading faster than it actually is. So in addition to improving the objective performance of a website, we can also improve its perceived performance.